Okay, welcome back to another episode of Concussions and Discussions with me, Michael Boylan. And then we got Milan, don't tell me, Djukanovic. Dude, I told you not to.
Sorry, man, my bad.
All right.
And who else?
It's okay, you can practice now.
Yes, we're here joined by Milan's wife, Jess Djukanovic.
There you go.
See,
Okay,
look, I got
did
their
let
last
you-
name down. We have already had multiple audio problems, so let's just hope that doesn't happen for the rest of this episode. But
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Jessica, or Honey, however you want me to call you, we're gonna get into you're gonna tell us how everything started, but I'll give you a little bit of an announcement. So, Jessica here, Djukanovic now, former Philippus, pretty well known in the wrestling community. One of the pioneers of wrestling. One of the sole reasons why wrestling in Iowa is sanctioned.
For girls.
For girls, yeah, of course. It's been probably
Gotta put that
sanctioned
out
for
there.
a lot, yeah. And then two-time All-American in wrestling on the senior level, two-time world grappling medalist, and then as an MMA fighter, 10-1 as an amateur, and then 1-1 as a pro. Had to stop the career early because couldn't pass the medical because of torn ACL, and then went to grappling, and then won the 2 world medals. Also, my darling wife and business partner, and all the good stuff, right? So I gotta keep it good, nice and positive here, so I still have a wife by the time I get home, right?
no trouble in paradise.
Right?
Or hopefully, I don't
Or
know.
hopefully
Maybe we
we'll
want
see
it.
it if it blasts the
That's
views.
what everyone wants to see. That's what gets views, man.
Where's the beef at? I'm gonna
Yeah.
find it. I'm
So-
just kidding.
You grew up in California, in the Bay Area, right? What made you want to wrestle?
I don't know, probably because I was just, I don't know the word for it. Like most 14-year-old girls are, just,
Curious, maybe.
Yeah, and I did it on a dare, and they were just advertising that wrestling was starting, and the TA in our class was a senior guy on the team, and so he was really trying to get more people out. And he said they had only ever, one girl, of course, you know, the girl in class with like the giant boobs. Giant boobs. And she's like, can girls do it? Like just being silly. And he
Yeah.
was like, well, actually, I mean, yeah, you're welcome, but we've never had one make it. And so I went with her to the information meeting, and of course she just went to be ridiculous. She didn't actually go
I was gonna
try
ask if
out.
she stuck with it. Yeah.
No, she didn't even go to the first practice.
There you go.
I did. I can't tell you why I liked it. I don't know. I just thought it was sort of unlike anything I ever did. I had only ever been a ballerina before that. I had no wrestling. I didn't even know what wrestling was, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I sort of knew I liked it, and probably subconsciously I wanted something to keep me out of trouble because I wasn't in with the best crew, you know.
For sure. That'll help then.
Yeah. So I had an excuse like, oh no, I'm sorry, I can't go to that party. And
So how was the coach about that? Was he welcoming? Was he tough on you? More tough than on the other guys? Less tough than to the other guys? How did that work?
keep in mind the time frame. So there was not, girls wrestling was like not really a thing, even in California back then.
How old were you again?
Late 90s. And he was like,
How old was she then?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
14.
14.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
okay,
a freshman.
okay,
I
yeah.
started as a freshman.
Yeah, okay.
Which is why I think it's great for girls to get into the sport at any age.
Cool.
But he was like a construction dude, you know, like a scary, dirty, just gruff kind of guy, and he
You
was
really
like,
gave him a good description there.
he was
Shout out to him.
I love you, Coach Jonathan. No, he was like just straight up after the first practice. He goes, "I don't want you here.
Oh God.
I don't know what I can do about that, but I'm gonna go see." And I was like, okay.
That's terrible.
And then what was this like? How did that feel? I mean, in your personal life, you unfortunately grew up without a dad. You
Yeah.
had a stepdad for a while, then he bailed. And how was that like interfering with somebody that was like a masculine wrestling coach type of guy? Like, was it?
I was
it
scared
scary?
of him.
Yeah.
I was very scared of him. I mean, everyone on our team was. You know, I think coaches coach certain way. There's coaches that are scary and that's how they get, work out of you, and there's ones that are
Silly.
nice and And he was definitely a scary coach,
Cool.
And I was scared of him in every way. But ironically, by like my junior year, he was my biggest fan, my biggest supporter. I think the next day he goes, I guess I can't, I have to let you be here. So if you can hang, you can stay. And I was like, okay. They proceeded to just beat the shit out of me. Like, absolutely. We'd be doing like folk style stuff and they would do like a sit out super hard and like give me a bloody nose or like slam me really hard or.
For sure.
Just horrible to me.
Terrible.
And I just kept coming back for more. And I don't know why. Because I was not tough back then by any stretch of the imagination. I was just like.
Determined.
Stupid, I think.
Sure. You guys
But very girly. But
we're good.
I don't know. I just kept coming back for more. And to be honest, I sucked. And I'm happy to tell this to like all the kids I coached. Like, I sucked. I was really bad. I won one time that first year.
Yeah.
One time. And it was enough that I was like, okay. And I only won because of some like crazy fight or flight response. Like
Whatever.
A kid smashed my nose. He was, like heavy handsing, but this is a JV tournament. So his heavy hands were just like
yeah, exactly.
And smashed my face, gave me a bloody nose. And I, of course, start crying.
Win's a win.
The win didn't come just yet. I'm crying like, oh my God, and my JV coach, also big construction guy, just sort of, but he was loving. I remember his face to this day, like holding back the laughter because it must have just been so ridiculous looking. Shoves the tampon up my nose and he's like, are you going to let him do that to you? And no. He's like, what are you going to go do about it? And I was like, the tears just went away immediately.
Really?
And I went out there and I threw a head and arm. I didn't know how to do a head and arm.
Wow.
Girl move 101.
Yeah.
Threw a head and arm and I pinned him. And he comes off the mat and he's like, so we just have to bonk you in the nose to get you to win.
Just before every match. Bang.
Yeah, he's like, I'll do it. I'll take the job. And that was it.
And then you went from what? From being
Being
like the
the ugly
little,
duckling to the team
being
captain.
what?
There you
Team
go. Nice.
Captain.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I didn't start till I was a freshman. Well, I started my 8th grade year, but I broke my toe in the first wrestling match that I did, so I didn't wrestle the rest of the season. So I pretty much didn't start till a freshman. But like, I think I maybe won 3 matches. Like, not a lot. Like, I did really
normal,
bad.
though.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially nowadays, you have a lot of people who are starting really young.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you start out as freshmen, and it's rough. I mean, I'm
Especially
learning to
in
lose.
Iowa. Especially in Iowa. Like,
For
starting
sure.
late, you're behind the curve.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what brought you to the Midwest after high school?
I got a scholarship to wrestle at the first women's program in the country. So I wrestled at Missouri Valley College.
Nice.
And that's back when, it was brand new. So we had 40 girls on the team, and you had to be top 5 in, like, nationally ranked top 5 in your age group. Top 5, like, senior level or top 3 age group. So,
Cool.
like, it was all studs
Yeah.
in there. It was, like, a very tough room. And when the Olympic Training Center opened, like, our whole roster was so good that we lost probably half our girls when the OTC opened because they all went to go train at the Olympic Training Center.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I should have gone but didn't.
Why?
Oh, well, this is a good life lesson. I was an idiot and I had a boyfriend and we just signed a lease on a duplex and I was like, do I go to the OTC or do I stay here and have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
And I got pregnant the next year and
Yep.
there went my whole wrestling career.
For
you
sure,
know, like,
yeah.
so I was somebody and then I wasn't.
Yeah.
But
Then you got into fighting and stuff too, and then you
did.
How
did
did that
pretty
happen
good in that.
after a kid? Yeah.
judo.
Yeah.
I was so bored. So I started judo randomly. I don't remember why or what. Because it's a weird sport. And it's
For
very
sh-
cult-like.
I've heard there's a lot of like specific rules and stuff for judo. I don't really.
There is. And bless them. There's some judo people I do love. But like
For sure.
the judo community as a whole, it's like a little weird.
Really? Yeah.
It's a little weird.
That's fair.
And they don't like outsiders, like at all. Like the fact that a wrestler was doing judo, it's frowned
Not a
upon.
fan.
If somebody's not like doesn't know judo rules, like if I throw you and you land straight on your back, it's over.
Yeah.
That's all I have to do. It's done.
I was in an airport one time, and there's this guy who came up to me, and he started talking, we were talking about judo, and like, he's telling me all these rules, and some of the things I remembered, some things I didn't. But like, yeah, a lot of the rules, like that, for example, he told me that, and I'm like, that's so interesting.
It's
but like,
wild.
everything for me, like, I think like what's so practical, so I'm like, well, that ain't practical. I mean, it's practical if you just want to throw a guy, but I guess coming from like a sports aspect, it's a sport, you know, so like.
I mean, it is pretty badass at the high levels.
Yeah.
It is.
They do some, then there's a lot
It's
of cool
like
judo
you
throws.
outclass the guy by throwing him on his back. You know, you got to think about this like thousands of years ago, right? Dude, you toss the guy on his back, like you're done. I don't need to I already like
It's changed a
destroyed
lot.
you, right?
Yeah.
And then,
It's
but
embarrassing.
if you like fall, so that would be called a ippon or ippon.
Yeah.
Ippon. If you fall like kind of sideways or on stomach, then that's a Vazari, and then you can still grapple, you can still get to like an armbar, you can still get to a submission, right?
Oh wow! So you can
Yeah.
still do
It's
submissions
sort of like
in judo.
jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You just can't go to. What if you get thrown to like your side, but then you roll to your back?
Then it's a scramble,
Yeah.
and then you
still
grapple.
go.
Is there like a pin position at all, or no?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you get on your back, it is.
Yeah,
Kind of like
if they
pin.
hold you, but they got, how long? They
I
have
think
to-
it's like 3 seconds.
3 seconds of like full control.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then back then, when you did it, right, like you could just double leg someone.
You
Yeah.
could, but
Right.
you can't now. Yeah.
And now you can't do those rules because what happened is a lot of wrestlers will go into the sport and just like double
Double-leg
single
everybody,
people.
well,
yeah.
they're standing straight
Right.
up. They're literally like it's like wrestling except they're up.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
why wouldn't I blast double you?
Yeah.
So I just
they
blast
canceled that
doubled
rule.
my way through
Now you can't
tournaments.
grab legs anymore. You can trip, you can sweep. You
Judo,
can,
they wear a gi,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They wear a gi.
That's
yeah.
what I thought. Yeah. Okay, so it's pretty much like when it comes to the stand-up part of it, it's more of like a Greco situation.
Kinda, yeah.
Sorta.
Except they're reaching a lot in Greco. You know, you're here. They're reaching a lot more and establishing grips on the gi, and then they're maneuvering to get trips, to get uchimadas or whatever.
I gotcha.
It's pretty cool. I mean,
yeah.
I brought when I had a wrestling club, I brought in on the off season. I brought in a judo instructor to come in once a week, and then that way, like dads could participate too, or moms,
Cool.
right? They could do some sort of grappling thing. But because I wanted my kids to know proper throw technique, because a lot of parents are scared to try Greco.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they'll try judo. But to me, judo's way sort of scarier because
Yeah.
I don't know,
Just is.
yeah,
Whatever.
like knee stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
But I just I allow head and arms. A lot of coaches here in Iowa don't allow kids to do head and arms. I'm like, if you learned the judo way, you can do it, right?
Yeah.
If you do it with proper technique, I'll allow it. And
It's
happy
just
to
when guys
teach
start picking them up on their hip
I
and
think
like
they
slamming and whatnot.
had
where it gets-
a lot of numbers as well. Like in Serbia, like tournament wise, like there's a lot more people in judo actually. Like
Really?
yeah, we're really good
Yeah.
at Greco for Serbia is like the sport that brought the most Olympic medals, right? But like in terms of numbers and who trains, like I've been to a judo tournament just to watch a friend and packed.
A lot, yeah.
Absolutely packed. We do have two really high level light heavyweights in judo from Serbia that are like world and Olympic medalists. But like we have more Greco wrestlers. But like, yeah, the community judo it's big. And
Isn't
if you
Kayla Harrison a judo Olympic?
Maybe I don't know.
I
I, know
think
she
so.
is some
I think
Olympic
it's
yeah.
medalist,
judo, right?
or
Yeah.
I think she won the
Yeah.
the gold medal,
and you
right?
have Khabib. If you, I don't know if you saw Khabib praises judo. Like really, he's like when he compares the not like as a sport, but he's like he says it's harder to win Olympics in judo than it is in wrestling. Have you heard that?
Yeah. I guess maybe there's just more. Obviously not here in America as much, I don't think, but
No.
or at least not that I'm aware of. I feel like it's more like freestyle, Greco, folk style even.
Yeah.
Which folk style they don't do in other countries or anything,
No,
right?
I
Like
always
at all.
say, no, we're the only idiots who do folk style.
I mean it. Like
And
I've
that
always.
one sentence will piss off so many people.
I've only wrestled folk style. Like I didn't wrestle freestyle or Greco in high school just because every time I wasn't training for that, I pretty much did wrestling so that way I could get better at fighting. So like whenever I wasn't there doing folk style, I'd just be here at the gym doing MMA. So
So you kind of knew, like, fighting is my
Yeah, I knew that's what I
passion,
wanted to
from-
do, and that's
yeah.
pretty much why I got into wrestling. Yeah. But
And still to this day, I mean, you go to like just plain jiu-jitsu classes, right? And
yeah,
I
exactly.
think you went one time to Graham. You
I did.
with me for
yeah,
one practice.
yeah, I went one time to practice, and it's good, and I'd like to do more because obviously, like, I think it's good to go with guys that specialize in one thing, whether it's wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or boxing, or whatever it might be, because they're the best at that, right? So it's like if I go and I'm able to wrestle with the guys who are just wrestling and do well with them, like I can do well with people who are really high level, right?
Yeah.
So like same thing to jiu-jitsu. I go and I train with these jiu-jitsu guys, and it's kind of a different game, really, because a lot of them don't mind playing off their back.
I know.
It's funny, like, I'll be rolling with them, and they're like, yeah, you could definitely just punch you right now, but we're doing jiu-jitsu. So I'm like,
It's
yeah, no, I mean, hey, it's
exhausting,
jiu-jitsu,
I
you know?
was the asshole though, and maybe I used to get away with it because I was tinier. But like at my gym in Omaha, I just if they would only lay on their back or they would just like hang on to me and do nothing, I would just like hit him in the
Would
ribs.
you actually hit him? Oh,
yeah, in the ribs.
Yeah.
Or I would just like dig my knuckle in or
She's
something.
mean, brother. She's
That's
mean,
where you got
man.
digging
Or,
a
like,
knuckle in?
right
Because he
here-
does that
Listen,
shit.
He
like-
does that. He was
Yeah.
me.
That's
Or
why
like
I fight,
under the
you know?
armpit here.
Oh, yeah,
You want to
yeah.
do that? I'm gonna dig my little fingers in, and they're like,
See,
you
I
can't
just
do
fight to
that.
survive, basically.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I come and train so I can stay alive at home. Pretty
That's
much.
it. That's it. So
I did teach him his
Jess
first
is beating
grappling
him up.
move. This
She did,
mofo,
yeah.
he's like, I did actually like get him in. What was it? A rear naked, I think.
Yeah.
We were like grappling.
Well, you just went up behind him out of nowhere, or you guys were
I
grappling?
No, we
was
were
the
like
grapple
grappling
guy,
on the
right? I
bed,
had
on the
my-
couch.
Oh, this was
whatever.
early on then, before you
Yeah,
started
yeah,
fighting.
early
Okay.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's the one that got me into.
Because he
And
was
I
like,
knew
no,
that.
you can't. And I was, what?
You want to see?
So back to judo. So you went
Oh,
from being a mom to judo, and then how that go?
to mom to judo, and then I went to a small MMA fight in Sedalia, Missouri, and
Just to watch? Is that?
just to watch,
Yeah.
like a friend, my neighbor's brother was fighting. I
Oh,
didn't really
cool.
know. UFC was, I mean, below the 100s back then. You
Yeah.
know? So I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll go with you, and go. And there was a chick fight. And I say chick fight, not women's MMA match, because it was a chick fight. It
Yeah.
was like so stupid. Like they were, oh god, I like can still picture it. The one girl, like I don't know what, she jumped on her back, and the one other girl was running around the cage because she didn't know what to do
With her on her
with
back?
a girl on her back, and they're like swinging for the fences
Oh.
like this, like chick fight.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, I have to do this sport.
You're just sitting there thinking, I could smash these chicks.
Yeah, I was like, well, not even just that from like a
It just
concrete
looked
perspective.
fun.
I was like, I have to go because people are like are gonna think this is what a female athlete is, and I'm like, I gotta go just to represent alone.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna try this. And
That's so
I
cool,
went
yeah.
and found the promoter. I was like, sign me up for one. How do I do this? Like, how do I get in there? I'm like, can I fight that girl that was just
Oh, wow.
there? And
That's-
he was like, no, but we can get you on like a next card, but you
Yeah.
know, start training boxing and stuff. I was like, okay, I do nothing about nothing.
Just the wrestling.
I wrestling and a little bit of judo. I didn't know any.
That's the first
striking.
time you watched MMA too.
That was the first time I ever saw MMA.
At amateurs, wrestling and judo goes a long way, though. I mean, you get a little bit of
It
wrestling.
does. I will say most of my first few AMI fights,
Take 'em down.
my tactic was I'm gonna sprint at them, blast double, get them to the ground. I'm not trying to get hit. I don't want to stand and bang.
Safe.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You got kicked out of judo, didn't you? Though.
I did get kicked out
Oh,
of judo
gosh.
at the national
This
tournament.
is great. Milan knows all your stories, so he just gonna
She
bring
can't
up.
hide anything.
He just gonna bring up the best stories. This is a good idea.
And this is why people either love me or hate me. They're like, oh, she's great. Oh, no, she's
Yeah.
not. She's fucking terrible.
She has both sides though.
Okay, so- go ahead.
actually, genuine two personalities, right? So you better make sure you're on the right one.
Yeah,
You're
as
friends
long as
with
you're on
the
the
right
right
one.
side, then
The
you're
other
good.
one, I mean.
Okay, well, I got it. So, how'd you get kicked out of judo? I mean,
Oh, because I won from like blast doubling.
so they kicked you out of the gym?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, they were like, here's your medal. Goodbye. Don't ever come back.
Oh no.
And
What?
I was like, but what? Okay.
So they had like a. I mean, was it like an in-gym tournament then, or is it like?
No, that was the national judo tournament in Kansas City.
Okay, so your gym. Okay, you got
No.
kicked out of the gym though, right? Or kicked
No,
out of.
I
Not
got
the gym,
kicked
not the gym.
out of like
Of judo.
The
Literally the sport of judo. Oh my god.
And they were like, don't come back.
Like I don't know if they called the commission or whoever ran it, like told you can't come back and do judo.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
The head
that's
table,
wild.
They were like, here's your medal. Don't come back.
I thought you meant you got kicked out of like a gym or something.
No.
Literally, the sport is judo. You're banned.
Yeah.
That's like getting banned from a Walmart or something. You can't go to
Yeah.
any of them. They have your photo ID.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know if Walmart's that high class, but maybe like Sam's Club.
I was telling you about my like uncle. He was like one of Serbia's best Greco wrestlers,
Yeah.
right? So he's this dude that like he grew up without any parents. Like he was a foster kid. Grew up, had it pretty tough, the war times, right? Like, he's old now, he's 80 something. But anyway, he did gymnastics, which is really a great sport if you're gonna go into combat sports after.
I think for being athletic in general.
Yeah.
The best. Yeah.
So he moves from like this tiny little village to like a big city, right? And the first sport he wanted to try out. Meanwhile, he doesn't have food on the table, right? Like, he's just a college kid, like
He's hungry then.
and
Literally.
he goes to judo, and he like in like 2 months of practice, he wins a tournament. And he goes and he's like, "Oh, this is a stupid sport." he's like, "This is too easy."
Oh no.
And then he goes to Greco, and some guy at the gym like kept throwing him a lateral,
Yeah.
and that's how he started loving the
I was
lateral.
say, I
and
think
then-
you've mentioned that to me in the
Right.
past at least.
So he just didn't know he was like obnoxiously talented for judo. Is what
Yeah,
it turned
yeah.
out. But he stick with Greco and made quite a career out of it. Yeah,
That's funny.
Funny.
But I don't want any angry judo people coming at me. I do
Oh.
appreciate and respect judo, and like I said, I do have like I believe they call him sensei. No, what do they call a judo
Instructor?
instructor? I forget. Anyway,
Anyway.
Mike Penny, bless that old guy. He really took me under his wing. He was at my jiu-jitsu gym, but he was a judo guy, so we were always sort of like the outliers.
Yeah.
But I really respected him because A, he was like old and still getting it.
Yeah.
And B, he would beat the shit out of me because he was like, all right, let's go. You know,
Yeah.
either guys like hated rolling with me at jiu-jitsu gym, either hated it or they would go too hard. You know, like
Yeah.
stupid, like hold like a choke across. I'm like, I can still breathe, but I can feel you fucking
Be like spazzy
breathing
in a
like
sense,
this.
yeah.
Shake
Like
White
when I
belt
get
stuff.
out of here, you're gonna die.
White
that
belt
kinda,
syndrome.
Yeah, white belt syndrome.
Yeah.
Either that or, you know, very rarely do you find someone who will like even keel roll with a female.
Yeah.
And this guy would. And then when he knew I had like a tournament coming up or worlds or something, he would like turn it up.
For
you know?
sure.
And I really appreciated him. There was just a handful of them.
Yeah. No, and I'm sure there's always going to be your good and bad. And like
Yeah.
bringing up the point of like, it's definitely different. Like if I go and roll with either a female or even like someone who's like way smaller than me, like even Cesar, for example, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm
He's
not
a fast little fucker.
And a lot of there's some guys too who are just like duck rolling with any female too. Like there's a few females that go into Henzo's, and I roll with them all the time. I don't like again. I just treat them as another person. Like again, if they're smaller than me, like I'm not gonna use all my weight. I'm not gonna squeeze dumb things. Like I'll try to be as technical as I possibly can. And I'll still tap them, and like it's a good roll, you know. But it's not like I try not to treat them differently in a sense either,
Right.
you know. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let them get me in anything, but I'm also not gonna just freaking.
Michael Boylan. That's,
Dude,
that's
but-
what he does. That is what he
but-
does. I'm like on the verge of something, and then he like uses muscle, and I'm like, I know what you did.
Then it's a pride thing. Then it's a pride thing.
Yeah,
No,
but the other day I had very good hip control, and you could not get out.
You guys just
And you have
grappling
to
at the
admit
house
that.
or what?
At random place, yeah, just
The
in
kitchen, the
bed,
living
in
room
the
floor.
kids.
You never know. Like
I see on your story.
He talks some
yeah,
shit. And
I see your story. Plus, like I think it was your daughter and
She's-
someone else wrestling in the kitchen
All
or
the time,
something.
yeah.
yeah.
She choked out my best man at our son's baptism, right? So like,
But what a place to do it.
right. Well, he started it right knowing.
not at the
he always-
baptism, Milan. Like at the
That's-
church. It was at the
Oh
party.
yeah, at the party.
Oh my God.
That's a little better than the baptism.
Yeah, not in
Yeah.
front of the priest, no. But
Yeah.
it was like getting late. We were supposed to leave, and he always plays wrestles with me too, right?
Yeah.
So he starts with her, and she just like takes him down and like chokes him out.
Oh my gosh. That's funny. Yeah, that is. I mean, there's some badass females out there. I mean, especially if a guy who hasn't trained. I don't know. You said it was your cousin.
No, my best man. Yeah.
Oh, your best man. Sorry. I I'm guessing
He didn't even wrestle, bless his heart.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
He
right.
would love it. He'd be good at it,
Yeah.
but he always like.
If you don't know anything, you're oblivious to how good you can be at actually like grappling in general.
He'll start, if he'll barbecue and he'll start wrestling. Either me or someone else. He's just like,
Yeah,
it's fun for him.
it's crazy. But then you got like, this isn't all like powerlifter bodybuilders or anything by no means. But every now and then you see like this bodybuilder thinks he's just like, oh, I could, Bradley Martin, right?
No.
Well, anyways, he's this big bodybuilder, he's a big YouTuber too, and he's a big guy. I mean, he's strong, and honestly, he's somewhat realistic. But a lot of times he thinks he can beat guys up who haven't, and he hasn't had any training.
Yes.
He said like he could beat Demetrius Johnson for a sense, like. Cannot. The problem is with guys that big, he can probably hold his own for the first couple minutes. He is
Not
going
even
to
a
gas
minute.
out.
The lactic acid threshold.
It's gonna build up really
if you're
quick.
just a big meaty piece of shit, you got a minute and a half.
Yes,
Tops.
it's gonna build up
You can't
really
finish
quick.
it in
and-
like a minute 20. You're done.
yeah, and then like once those muscles fatigue, I mean they are toast, right?
Yeah, you're done.
So that'd be rough. I like rolling with big guys in here, and I'll be like, all right, we're setting the clock to 5-minute rounds. not threes. We're doing 5s today.
It's different, right?
It is.
Yeah.
They'll be strong for a minute, but
Yeah, I used to always have like the big guys. They're like, "Ugh, I don't want to roll with you," and I'm like, "Sexist asshole." And he's like, "No. I don't want to work that hard. Like you're just too much. You're like too fast. Too crazy. I don't want to."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm old and fat. Like I don't want to. Like I'm doing jujitsu for something light activity to do."
That's funny.
So how did it go? How did your first fight go?
Oh, my first fight. Oh, that was really funny. This is in the MySpace era. Are you even old enough for MySpace?
Nope, I know what it is, but I was not
just
around.
dated myself.
I was
Okay.
born in 01. I mean, I'm a freaking
It's
young buck.
pre-Facebook days, pre-Tapology, right? So
Okay.
like we don't have all the internet resources that we have today. So I had a fight. I drove all the way down to Arkansas for it. The girl, I weighed in, girl no-showed. I'm like, okay, great. And then there used to be this like forum. I forget what it's called. Anyways, there was like Midwest MMA, something like that.
Cool. Was that
And
because I know they also had like a SureDog forum thing or something. That's not the
It
same
was like
thing, is
even
it?
before SureDog. It
Okay.
was just like a
I don't know how
locally
early they
run
went, so
dude,
cool.
I think in Kansas City, and it was like Midwest MMA. So
Whatever, cool.
Like an old school Reddit style forum.
Yeah.
And you can put on there, hey, female 105 to 115 looking for a fight.
Cool.
So somebody from my gym was like, yeah, Jessica's looking for a fight. Yeah, she's down to fight. I see what I think is my name on a poster. Like on this forum, it says Jessica Flickus. And I was like, I called the number at the bottom for tickets and I was like, hi, I think I'm fighting in your event. Because it was a female co-main. And I was like, he's like, against Barb? I'm like, yeah. You have Jessica Flickus on there. I was like, I'm Jessica Philippus, but nobody asked me to fight. And
Yeah.
It's like that weekend.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like 4 or 5 days away, and I was like, okay, not knowing shit about shit again. You
Yeah.
know, to me, before you fight MMA, without ever seeing UFC type stuff, you're like, well, I've done hundreds of wrestling matches. Okay, I'll go compete. Like, I thought it was sort of pussy that you only have one match in a night.
Yeah.
When I first started watching, I was like, man, you're
Fucking
like
sissies, dude.
acting all like this is like hard. You have one match. Like, we do 5 a day. What the
Yeah.
hell is this? And so I showed up, and I was tiny for it. I think I weighed in at like 112, and she normally fought at 125, and she was a seasoned fighter. She was
Okay. Yeah.
I think 7-0.
Oh,
I was
wow.
0-0, and it was a title fight. So I show
That's
up,
wild.
I weigh in. I didn't know it was a title fight. So I find that out when I roll up there. The hometown crowd. I
Yeah.
got the shit beat out of me. I mean, the shit beat out of me. I remember, what was the first terrible thing that happened? I got hit with a hard left hook.
Okay.
And I remember it like in a cartoon. It felt like how when you see them like.
Bang! It just,
I
goes
don't
out.
know if that actually happened or in my mind.
Whatever.
I'd never been hit before.
Yeah.
Again, I'd only done some boxing on mitts. I didn't know, never in my life had I been hit like that. And I was like,
Thud.
rude! I was so upset.
What kind of sport is this?
Rude! like, because in wrestling your brain's wired, like, if you get hit, like, illegal,
Yeah, 100%.
And I do very much remember, then I got kneed really hard, and I'd rather get hit in the face 10 times to getting kneed in the stomach.
Body shots suck if they're good.
Holy mother of God. It sucked the life out of you. And I remember I was just standing there like this, and I'm like, legitimately, can I tap in the air? Like, what? Like, how do I get the fuck out of here? This is terrible. I don't want to do this.
That's funny.
And then, survival mode kicks in, and I took her down. Lovely, super. So then I wind up in her guard. And I spent the next, I think, 2 minutes going triangle, armbar, triangle, armbar.
Just back and forth, yeah.
Back and forth. And I was purple. And I was all into yoga and stuff then. And I remember I was like, well, I can breathe a little bit. Like, I had a little bit of room right here. And I was like, just go to your happy place. If you go out, you go out.
You could have been to your happy place.
I almost went to that,
Yeah.
And I forget, how did I lose? I don't even know, but I lost.
Yeah.
Funny you don't remember it.
And then you went on a tear after that. 10 fights.
I did go on a tear
10 or
after
11
that.
fights in
But
a row.
she was like, I don't even know if I still have that old picture, but like we took a picture after, and we're like this, and my hand's like tiny, like this, and her hand was like as big as this fucking microphone,
Really?
and I was like, I'm just so little compared to her. I was just clinging on for dear life, and it was horrible.
Do you know if she ended up doing anything afterwards?
Oh, absolutely. She was a badass. She held the Invicta 125 title for
nice.
years.
Okay, she was a stud.
Shout out to Barb Honchak. She's a bad bitch. But yeah,
And what weight class was that at?
that was like, I think 120. They did like a catch weight.
Yeah.
Because she was normally 125, but they couldn't find anyone
And
who
you
wanted to
fought
fight
most
her.
of your career 105?
105, yeah.
Which is an interesting weight. Like, you don't have it's atom weight. You don't have it in UFC, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. And I
Right.
mean, honestly, if I don't know if you watched before in the 105. Laura Sanko, like UFC reporter,
Yep.
she used to fight at 105. They used to train.
Really? Isn't she taller, or am I incorrect?
She's a little taller
A
than
little
me.
taller,
Maybe
but
she just looks like it on
She's like
camera, too.
5'6".
they
She
trained
wears
together
heels.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Two
my
of them
training
trained together.
partner.
I knew, I knew
Like
you
how
guys
you
were
guys
close.
are like MMA besties.
Yep.
Yeah.
Laura's my MMA bestie.
I would call him more of like a,
What do you guys call each other exactly?
bestie's fine.
Okay.
I'm like, what are you trying to say?
Acquaintance. Just kidding. now we're travel besties too.
If you watch
We
some of
snuggle
these-
up and whatnot.
I know.
If you watch some of these 105 fights, they're like pretty technical. Now, provided not a lot of knockout power, but in terms of scrambles, in terms of speed, like I mean, it's pretty similar like watching 125 pound men.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
I've watched like, I'm impressed when I watch the lower levels because like, they are very technical because they have to rely more so
Lower
on
weight
technique.
classes, not lower levels.
Sorry, I said lower levels, lower weight classes.
Off
it.
One of us is
All right, lower weight classes. Apologies. Look, I'm not, contrary to popular belief, I'm not perfect everywhere, so.
Oh no.
But anyway, yes.
Get him
Sorry,
prepped.
ladies.
Okay, back.
Be hard on him. Get him prepped for marriage.
Back to it. Yeah, with lower weight classes, like I'm always impressed in watching people or watching them go because like they're throwing these techniques. It's just a lot faster because again, I think they have to rely. Obviously once it gets more heavier weight classes, not levels. Once it gets heavier, like I feel like the technique doesn't go out the window by no means, but like it starts to diminish. Because people start relying more so on power as it goes up.
Yeah.
So. I mean, it's pretty rare you got a guy who's at 125, or I'd imagine 105 with chicks. Like, can't imagine there's many knockouts there whatsoever.
Not a lot now.
Maybe submissions. I could
head
see.
kicks. If anything,
Yeah,
I think.
they get a good head
Like,
kick
you
in
just
there.
land
Yeah,
it right,
100%.
but-
100%. I could see that. So, yeah, it does typically impress me. Like, the lower the weights I watch, it's like, oh, they are kind of fun to watch,
In terms of like women's MMA, I think it's a more attractive weight class than like 155 or 170. Especially once
Can I
if
just
you're
throw out there, literally and figuratively?
yeah. That's why I use that
Crazy
word.
work.
That's why I use that word because I mean, okay, like honestly, when you watch like two girls like fight and they both look, like short hair, they look more manly than the two of us, right? And I'm like, oh, man, I don't really care who wins, right?
But
Are you kidding? No, you're not.
Nope. Okay, but for the average MMA viewer, when you got two
that's right.
good-looking females fighting,
yeah, it tracks.
I'm sorry, but you're gonna tune in.
Yep, and I'm gonna pick whoever I think is more attractive.
You know, Paige Van Zandt made it. Paige Van Zandt made it to the Ultimate Fighter house on that.
I used to
probably
love,
reason alone. She was not very talented back then.
100%.
She was a ring girl, Boylan.
Was she? I didn't know that.
Her best friend Taylor, I forget her new name now. Anyways, her best friend fought 155, and she was a bad bitch.
Yeah.
And so she like sort of got her into training, and then lo and behold, she's cutie patootie, and now she's like
for sure. And she got, then she got to the point to where she was at least good, right? Like
she was fun to watch because she was a dancer before, so she was like really flexible. She has really good kicks. Yeah, she's got fluidity, and she was fun to watch. So if nothing else, that chick has heart.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
She made something out of it,
Yeah, I didn't really watch her.
OnlyFans.
I know.
No.
So
prior to the offense. Not now. It's a little bit out of hand.
Yeah, she got really out of hand.
If you get out of hand,
I did too. I unfollowed her. I used to follow her because I thought she's very attractive.
Was fun and cute, though.
Yeah, fun and cute, and that's exactly. But then her morals kind of switched. It seems
which
right.
is weird.
And
she was
at
like
that
super
point,
Christian.
She was. She was super. Yeah. She
got her ass cheeks all over the internet.
And then at that point, it doesn't matter how much money, right? But at that point,
you're right.
Matter,
It doesn't. Like there's a certain point to where it's
I never because I got offered a decent fight package for King of the Cage. Are they still around?
I don't think so.
Oh, King of the Cage used to be decent size.
Yeah.
And it was like after I had a world medal, I was like in good shape, whatever, and it was decent pay, and it was a 5-fight package or something like that, and he was like, but we're gonna need some ass pictures on social media. And
wow, they said that?
Straight up. And I was like, I don't know. He goes, we're trying to build the 105 division because they're all hot chicks. And I was like, so do you care about my athletic accolades or just that I'm marketable?
Yeah.
And
you can't go just one way or the other, right? If you kind of mix it all in, make it a little bit more classy, it can work. Maybe
so. Yeah, you gotta figure out the right way.
Could I be smart enough to market the sexuality side of it and attract more male viewers without being a whore? Yeah, I could have. Had you worded that differently to me, but once you say ass cheeks get views, yeah, they do. But I was like, I have a son, and at some point he's going to be a teenager, and I don't want his buddies jacking off to his mom's ass cheek from 5 years ago or whatever. I saw your mom's ass online,
That's so funny, because
I just don't have that in me, and I wonder about these girls.
That's good. Yeah.
At some point, you are going to be a mother or a wife.
Yep.
Even I don't know. To me, it's not worth. Do Feet Finder or whatever, man. I don't know.
Stop. That's better. That's better. I've had people tell me they've done Feet Finder. I'm like, bro, you're
I don't know. Even what that person's doing when he's watching those pictures. So I still think it's wrong.
It depends how much you're making off it. I mean, if you are making $1,000 off a picture of your foot.
Weird, man. It's weird.
It's weird.
You know what else I could be making money on? I could be choking dudes out for money.
Yeah.
I got lots of offers on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter anymore.
There's a bunch of weird people. Yeah.
But they're into, and they don't. Here's the deal. They don't want anything sexual out of it. They just want to be manhandled by a female.
Crazy.
Right? And I'm like, I could choke
I've been with her, and I don't want to be manhandled by her.
I could choke some dudes out for fun.
Yeah,
can't say it's mine either.
But then also, what they're going home and doing. And I'm like, So, I don't know. I did have one guy in jiu-jitsu one time. I had a reverse triangle. And I was and we were in gi at least, so it wasn't leggings on his face.
Yeah.
But homeboy's not moving. I'm like, is he unconscious? Why isn't he fighting out of this?
Yeah. You just liked it the way.
So I'm and he's not moving, and I'm like.
But he was now. He was just.
He just liked it.
I just jumped up and I was like, no.
Weird.
No. I'm never rolling with your white belt ass ever the fuck again.
There is a bunch of,
No.
especially guys, there is a bunch of weird guys for sure. All right, we do have a class, then usually they show up about 20 minutes
And
before.
we can't be saying that.
We have 10 more minutes, yeah, I
Okay.
think.
So I'd
roughly.
5. I mean, I'd say
5.
5, yeah, because we'll want to get out of here. We'll want to get out of here before
Do you
people
have
start
any
coming in.
burning questions?
Yeah, so that's why
For
if
a
we have
female
anything, we really
athlete
want to
or
get
a-
out.
Or
Well, I got a simple question. How long have you two been together again?
I don't know.
You don't know? Almost 7 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
Since
cool.
September 2018 is when we
Okay,
met.
let's see from your perspective. How did we met? How did that go?
We
Got
You
met,
long
can tell this
perspective.
story. Yeah.
we met at the World Championships in Kyrgyzstan. It's a country. I didn't know it was a country
Cool.
till USA Wrestling's like, you're going to Kyrgyzstan.
Whatever the hell that is.
Middle of nowhere. And we...
And some special styles of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Not your typical freestyle Greco.
Yeah.
It was their made up versions of wrestling, right?
You know,
Yeah.
it's sort of funny, like the turn of events that sometimes you think like bad things happen and you know, at the time they
We'll
seem
finish
really
up.
bad. But somebody weighed in under my name. Some chick from New York weighed
Oh,
in
wow.
under my name. And I was cutting weight, miserable, just did this crazy international venture. And they're like, yeah, you already weighed in. No, I didn't. No. And I'm like trying to argue with UWW. Turns out a Serbian guy who's like the head ref there at this event, he knows me from Facebook. And he was like, Jessica, do you need help? I'm like, yeah, I don't speak Russian. I need help. This one speaks French, this one speaks Russian, and like, help me.
Yeah.
And he helped me. And then shortly after that, we walked to the cafeteria to go eat, and I run into this mofo here.
And next thing you know, here we are.
And next thing you know, here we are.
Took 8 months of very far distance dating, right?
Yeah,
And then I tried getting here twice, got denied twice for the tourist visa.
Yeah.
And then they put you in a spot. It's like you gotta get engaged or you gotta call it.
Yeah.
So it was sort of
So, yeah.
thrown upon us. I, at the time, was like, I don't believe in marriage. I think it's stupid. I don't want to get married.
I wasn't
Yeah.
ready to settle down, to be quite honest. But I mean, here
He
I
didn't-
am.
Here he is with 2 babies,
Life
a few
happens.
houses.
2 kids and whatnot. Yeah.
All right. Well, we do have people starting to come into the gym. We have class here in like 25 minutes-ish, so we're going to wrap it up there. Is there any shout-outs or anything you need to give or anything beforehand, or are we good to go?
No.
All right, sweet. Well, we appreciate you guys watching. Thank you again, Jess, for coming on. Yeah, y'all have a good day.